On Boxing Day 1958, Jim Clark and Colin Chapman met for the first time at Brands Hatch. Their alliance would elevate both to true Grand Prix legend status. But who will be the king of brands today? Welcome to Grand Prix Legends, live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. I'm Peter Mackay, and I am privileged to be joined in the booth by the better half of Double Scotch, Ryan Walker. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Ambrose, using camera angles perfected by Dougie Beard. Now, Brands Hatch is an absolute institution in British motorsport with a rich heritage, and here is their GSRC track guide to tell you a bit more about it.
Welcome to Brands Hatch. When popular British racing circuits get listed, this track just to the southeast of London often finds itself near the top. The extensive history of the venue has meant that many famous names in racing have ran laps here. But the stats make it sound deceptively simple, with the Grand Prix and Indy course having 9 and 6 turns respectively. Laps might be short, but they're also fast, and the corners are often a challenge to get right. As you'd expect, that means passing is quite difficult, with most drivers leaning towards sending one up the inside at Druids. You might occasionally see overtakes into the first corner, Paddock Hill Bend, but the blind apex and gigantic drop in elevation make that an errand for only the brave. Many of the corner names pay tribute to famous British drivers from the past decades, such as Hill, Surtees, Sterling, and Clark. In fact, the fame extends beyond the drivers, but to the cars as well, with this place seeing everything from Formula 1 to Formula 4, touring cars, GT cars, motorcycles, and even rallycross. It's a gorgeously scenic venue where lush trees envelop the back half of the course, while the front half is mostly encapsulated inside a natural amphitheater. This makes it extremely popular with race fans who can see a majority of the circuit from many seating positions. With a great location near a major metropolitan hub, a spectator-friendly layout, and an experience that challenges drivers, you can see why this place remains abuzz with racing to this day.
So there you are, a little bit more about this beautiful venue here in the Kent countryside. Ryan, it's a pleasure to be back for another round of the Grand Prix Legends Championship, but tell us a bit more about the finer details of this particular circuit.
Yeah, this fantastic Brands Hatch track has been around for quite some time, and it's went through some safety changes in the past, and it's got a couple of different layouts. They've got the layout for the full Grand Prix layout, and it's got the layout that the British Touring Car Championship uses for the season finale. But yeah, this nine turn layout that we're using today has got some fantastic corners. You've got high speed corners, you've got long straights, you've got slow speed corners, you've got hairpins. It's basically got the lot. Your best passing opportunities is going to be down the Brabham Straight heading down to Paddock Hill Bend. And also, if you get a great run on the exit of there, you can try and get a move done into Druid's hairpin. And if you get a run down the Pilgrims drop straight heading down to Hornfont Hill, you could possibly make a move there as well. And then apart from that, that's pretty much the only passing places. But I think the nature of the race today is going to be about patience, timing your move, and with the track being tight and twisty, and really tight in general, I think you wouldn't. Don't be surprised if you see some accidents, put it that way.
Well, we'll have to keep an eye out for it. Let's have a look at how the driver standings are looking after a couple of rounds here in the Grand Prix Legends Championship. Mick Claridge continuing his dominance of the series, a 100% record for the whole of 2021 so far. Ovi Trengrid is only 21 points behind though, so a good round for the Norwegian will put him right back in the hunt. Bill Tyler has got a good start to the season, 32 points in arrears with Chris Murakami in 4th and Gary Teal in 5th.
Yep, and in the F2 Championship at the moment, it's currently Dave Cotton from the United States that's leading the championship on 35 points, with Bill Wright and Andrew N. They're currently tied in second place, 7 points further back, with another American driver, Andrew N. in third place, rounded out the top three with two Finnish drivers, Heideki Koivisto and Janne Lehmann, currently tied in fourth from 17 points, with Randy Huff from Canada rounding out the top 5.
And finally, let's have a look at the Nations Cup and see how we are looking there. At the moment, United Kingdom 100 points ahead of Norway, the United States, Finland and France, but plenty time left to go. 10 more rounds left to go in this Grand Prix Legends Championship. Let's take a look at the race details. You know what to expect today. As we said, third round of the championship, 24 laps of the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. So it's a long way, very difficult to keep a mistake-free run. That will be the key to victory today here at Brands Hatch. And as always, here in the Grand Prix Legends, a completely open setup so the drivers can hone their cars exactly how they wish. There's, of course, being a Grand Prix machine, there is a lot of adjustment on these cars, but a great community, Ryan, that surrounds this championship, where a lot of the front runners are more than happy to share their normally what would be closely guarded secrets in terms of setup.
Yeah, that's the thing about this community as well that I like. As we look at Mick Claridge at the moment, heading into the hairpin. And the drivers, especially the quick ones, are more than happy to help out anyone that's struggling with setups, setup advice, driving the tips, anything like that. And I think that's the big appeal about this series, is looking at Andrean as well, who's coming around to the final corner to complete his lap, heading onto the Brabham Straight.
Yep, so let's see. At the moment, Mick Claridge leading by just under 0.2 of a second for pole position, and whoop, Andre backs it into the wall. Stick the landing? No, straight on his lid. Deary me. So, Ovi Trengrade sitting in second place right now. Rob Olenek in third, but we have quite a few new names on the sheet today, Ryan.
Yeah, I was just looking through the list of names in practice, and looking at Craig Speedman from Canada. He's another new name to the series by the looks of it. And some other names as well popping into the series as well. Borja Valerio as well, I believe.
Indeed, so we get Mick Claridge over the line. He improves again, a 121.3, so extending his advantage on pole position, and his dominance continues to rise here for Mick Claridge. We've got about 3 minutes left in qualifying, but looks like we are getting pretty close to determining the grid order. But once again, Ryan, looks like Mick Claridge is going to be the man with the target on his back. Yeah,
pretty much continuing his good form at the moment. And took the one at Lime Rock Park last week, but he didn't get it in dominant fashion like he's used to doing. He was under huge pressure from Topi Cortanemi, who gave him a good run for his money until, unfortunately, he got caught up in an incident with a back marker in the closing stages.
Yeah, that was such a shame for Topi Cortanemi. Now, we're looking at Matthew Maudsley on screen right now in the 26 car, running the beautiful Gulf Oils paint scheme, a scheme that's so familiar to race fans all over the world, that kind of duck egg blue and orange scheme there. But Matthew pulling in, he's set his best lap time and just going to go in and get ready for the start of this race. Of course, standing start, Ryan, so getting these cars off the line, they've got so much horsepower and they are not easy to get off the line smooth.
Yeah, you've got to be really careful getting the car off the line. If you put too much power down off the line, you'll basically end up spinning or getting sideways or getting too much wheel spin, and that can hamper you, especially around the track such as Brands Hatch heading into turn 1, because you want to try and get some track position before heading into turn 1, I find.
You certainly do, that's for sure. So we're going to ride on board with Michael de Turk, a driver who we see often in the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series. Very much weekends on GSRC, peppered with brilliant classic motorsport. We of course have the Grand Prix Legends here in the morning, and then we move on to Camel GT later on around lunchtime, and then tomorrow we have the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series, which is always a thriller, as well as Michael de Turk using all the room and more on the exit of Sheen. A little bit of understeer there through Stirlings, and then down towards Clark Bend, of course named after the great Jim Clark, who came to such fame at the wheel of this car in the Lotus 49. And this was actually where, as we mentioned in the intro, Ryan, this was where Jim Clark actually met Colin Chapman when they both raced one another in Lotus Elites, and Colin Chapman actually won.
Yeah, I was reading about that actually this morning. They just taking notes for the broadcast, and I was quite surprised when I heard about that. But I always love reading and listening about historical facts when it comes to motorsport.
Indeed, yeah. I love the story of how the Ian Scott Watson, Jim Clark's great friend and loyal sponsor, picking up the brand new Lotus Elite from a hotel in London and then driving it down to Brands Hatch, and after the meeting, driving it all the way back up to the Scottish border as well. So a different time when you could drive your car to the racetrack. Well, looks like we're just preparing, ready to get going for this third round of the Grand Prix Legends Championship, and we'll take a little run through the grid and see where your favourite drivers start today. If you want to keep an eye on with live timing and scoring, you can GSRC.tv. On pole position then is Mick Claridge, with Rob Olenek joining him on the front row. Row 2 will be Ovi Trengrade and Topi Kortenemi, with Roman Pawlowski and Bruce Nelson starting on the third row. Great to see Roman back up the front. Javier Sanchez and Laust Olsen will start in the fourth row, and the fifth row will be John Olsen and Gary Teal. Ryan.
Starting in 11th is Will McDonald with Michael de Turk in 12th, with the German Chris Henler in 13th, with Emmanuel Pereira from France in 14th, Borja Valeru in 15th, with Colin Bentley 16th, Matthew Maudsley 17th, Chris Marikami 18th, with Dave Cohen 19th, and rounding out the top 20 is Andrew N.
Starting in 21st today here at Brands Hatch is Roland Wallbank alongside Peter Yevkowski. Robert Plumley and Craig Speedman start on row 12, followed by Andres Bruno, Randy Hoff, Jesse Brannan, Don Good, Cesare Piccolo and Steve O'Malley rounding out the top 30.
And then rounding out the grid, the last person to set a time was Gary Anderson in 31st, with Eugenio Massa 32nd, Robert back row Bob Reynolds, and rounding out the grid in 34th was Richard Tucker.
So there we are, 34 cars. It's a good job we're not on the shortened Indy circuit today here at Brands Hatch. Glad that we're on the Grand Prix layout, the proper layout as it's often referred to, and you can see the drivers lined up here on the Brabham Straight. Preparing, the lights are being lifted and off we go. It's a perfect start from Mick Claridge, and Rob Olenek tucks in behind him in second position. Trengarade there in third. They have to tiptoe their way through Paddock Hill Bend. Cold tyres, cold brakes, up to Drew as they go. It's Claridge followed by Olenek, followed by Trengarade. Topi Kortenemi in there in fourth too.
Yeah, it's been a decent start so far. Everyone's managed to make it through the first set of corners with no issues, and so far so good. But Mick Claridge having a great start off the line, but at the moment Rob Olenek is trying to keep with him, and these two guys are slowly but surely pulling away from the rest of the pack behind them.
These are critical laps for Rob Olenek here, because we've seen that Mick Claridge has been so impressive in the opening laps of these Grand Prix Legends races, where he's able to just build a gap and then able to maintain that gap throughout the race. But the real difference has been in the opening laps of the race. But Olenek's still there in the wheel tracks of Mick Claridge as well, and like you said, Ryan, they're already creating a little bit of a gap from Trengarade. Trengrade's going to have to get a move on here.
He absolutely is, as they head down to the final corner now. And it looks like in the background, Trengrade in third, and it's actually, I'll take that back, it looks like the top three are starting to pull away from the rest of the pack behind them, with Kortenemi in fourth.
Yeah, Kortenemi battling away with Roman Pawlowski. In fact, Roman Pawlowski has gone by, and Kortenemi's got a bit of damage on the front nose. Now, we do see nose damage appearing over the course of the race, but that looks a bit early to have that damage, so maybe there's been a little bit of contact somewhere. Right on board with the red wine mobile, Topi Kortenemi, with that wonderful burgundy paint scheme on this car. You can see Roman Pawlowski up there in the classic Lotus colours, the green and gold. Almost looks like a Springbok rugby jersey, the Lotus colours.
Yeah, as it looks like we've lost several drivers as well by the looks of it.
Okay, looks like it might be Michael de Turk, Borja Valero, Colin Bentley and Matthew Maudsley all showing on the timing screen to have an issue. So we're going to start with Michael de Turk and see what happens to him, of course, Michael coming over from the Lotus 79 Grand Prix series with the very much slicks and wings, whereas this car has neither of those. So what happened here? We're looking at Roman Pawlowski and Cortinemi going around Druids here, but we will try and get a look. As you can see, it's a bit of a boneyard in pit lane, and lots of damage. And whoa, goodness me, Michael de Turk. Oh, and it gets, oh my word, that's nasty. Nasty. Now, it's quite unusual to lose it on the, whoa, gee, oh my goodness, his car's off everywhere. So we're riding on board with Chris Murakami here, so we'll get a good look now. There, here we go. So we're riding on Chris Murakami's shoulder. Goodness me, and the driver in front loses it. Oh, wow, dearie me. Michael de Turk, it's almost as if he lost it on power going along the Brabham Straight, which isn't really a straight.
Yeah, I wonder when I wonder if he put the power down, he just might have just got some wheel spin and just tried to hold it. But yeah, it's unfortunate. It's so easy to do with these cars as well. But back up at the front, Mick Claridge is still under pressure from Rob Olenek, and him and Olenek have managed to pull away from Trengrade.
Yeah, they really have dropped Ovi Trengrade early on. It's interesting to see Rob Olenek really keeping Mick Claridge honest here, which is promising for the rest of the race to get a battle towards the end. But Trengrade just struggling to get comfortable here. Great opening drive from Roman Pawlowski. A lot of the time we see Roman starting much deeper in the pack than this and making his way through. He's a real hard charger, but really having got the qualifying right, he's right there in this lead battle and well within a shot of a podium. But yeah, what an interesting start here at Brands Hatch. And as we say, it's called the Brabham Straight, but it's more the Brabham really long slight right-hander.
Yeah, absolutely. As Rob Olenek puts in the fastest lap of the race so far. But yeah, I have to agree, Roman Pawlowski on his day can be right up there and really quick. You see, other times he seems to be kind of not off the pace, but off the boil slightly and kind of further back in the field, like you say, Peter. But at the moment, he's challenging Trengrade for a podium, and right there, or a little bit behind these guys, is Cortinemi as well, as Trengrade gets a little bit sideways.
Yeah, a little bit of a slide there coming out of Surtees. Down they go towards Hawthorne Bend, named after the great Mike Hawthorne, the first ever British world champion, who used to race with a bow tie on underneath his overalls. Now that's a gentleman driver.
It takes the definition of gentleman driver to a whole new level after hearing about that. But at the moment, Pawlowski is still putting Trengrade under pressure, and yeah, look what it is, Peter. It's your favourite camera.
Indeed it is. And I bet you that wasn't a clip-on bow tie either. I bet he tied it properly too. As well, I have to say, Ryan, I've whenever I do have to wear a bow tie, I go for a clip-on every time. Yep, indeed, as you say, it's our favourite camera, Cosworth DFV cam, this V8 musical instrument, nearly 400 horsepower, and this car weighs about half a tonne, so to give it a bit of perspective, about the same as a Caterham 7, but with a heck of a lot more power and very basic tyres compared to today's standards. So when we saw it, normally you would think, how on earth has someone crashed on the Brabham Straight? Well, I think that might have been the case. Getting out of Clark Bend just got it spun up a little bit too hard.
And John Olsen, by the looks of it, made a move, but Gary Teal taking that position back as I thought both of those guys were going to have contact, but luckily both of them managed to keep it clean. But look back behind them as well, it's Chris Hengler.
Yeah, of course, Chris Hengler missing out ever so narrowly on the F2 Championship last season. Went down to the wire with him and Andre Schumacher, and a good start to the season so far for Chris. If he can keep clicking out those top 10s, he will be right there at the end of the season. But such a beautiful place to go racing here at Brands Hatch as you go flying through the Kent countryside. And this one of the reasons why it's so undulating, it actually used to be a relatively flat surface, and it was used as a military vehicle car park, and it was during the war it was actually bombed several times, which is where the undulations come from.
Interesting. Yeah, I love this track. It's just something about it. It's got that, it's so, like I said at the start of the broadcast, it's got so many different styles of corners, and especially the British GT Championship around here I love watching. But back up at the front, the battle for the lead is still going on between Mick Claridge and Rob Olenek, and these two have pretty much checked out up at the front, and they're riding on board of Olenek at the moment. You can see Claridge right in front of him as they come round one of my favourite corners. It's just so rewarding, this corner, if you get it nailed.
Yeah, it is. So Hawthorne Bend and through to Westfield and Dingledale. We go through Dingledale here. I just love saying that. Dingledale through to Sheen's, named after the great Barry Sheen, the double World Grand Prix motorcycle champion, and up towards Stirling's, named after the great Sir Stirling Moss. And I tell you what, this is the drive of his season so far, Rob Olenek, and he's got the run. Here goes Rob Olenek to finally break the stronghold. Mick Claridge has dominated for so many races. We've seen him lead from the front so many times, but Olenek is going to try and keep the champ honest here as they head down the Brabham Straight. Big wiggle there into Paddock Hill Bend. You're braking, you're turning, tucking into the apex, and Mick Claridge survives just about, Ryan, but it's game on.
Yeah, it's absolutely is. Mick Claridge gets sideways, and yeah, it's pretty much, I think, all the battle's going on for third place as well, and it looks like Robin Pawlowski has took that podium position from Ove Trengred, who's under attack from Topi Kortenemi now.
Yeah, and we mentioned it on the broadcast last week that Topi Kortenemi is a potential championship contender. He's really been a consistent challenger over the last few rounds, but he'll want to try and get in front of these two chaps here, in front of Trengred and in front of Pawlowski. But Pawlowski is absolutely on the tear now. 4.3 seconds back from the leaders, Claridge and Olenek, who appear to have superior pace, but if they come together at all, Roman Pawlowski could be on for a dream result here.
Absolutely, and I think Roman Pawlowski is a back marker there, trying to get out of the way. Just managed to get out of the way, and I think he just had nowhere to go. But Pawlowski, I have to agree, he's a quick driver, and I think if he can try and get away from Trengred and Kortenemi, I think he could possibly try and close that gap down to Olenek and Claridge in front of him.
Quite possibly. At the moment, the best lap time of Claridge and Olenek, about half a second quicker than those behind. So they do have a pace advantage, but of course Olenek wants to try and get past Mick Claridge here by any means necessary. And well, of course, as we know, if you have to make those slightly bigger passes, it can really slow the pace up. Now, that won't be such a concern for Rob Olenek, I wouldn't think. He just wants to try and get that race lead right now as they go through 30s, slipping and sliding around. And you look how smooth Rob Olenek's inputs are there. Bear in mind, you're carrying quite a lot of corner speed for a car with tread tyres and no aerodynamic assistance at all. And you can just see how smooth Rob Olenek's inputs are. It's Jim Clark-esque.
Absolutely, and I think Olenek's realising if he doesn't try and make a move on Claridge, I think you know what Mick Claridge is like. Once he gets in that mindset and in the zone, he just starts to pull away, and I think Olenek's realising it that for this race.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. You cannot afford to let Mick Claridge get into a rhythm, because it is just, once he's in that rhythm, don't try and get him out of it. Whoa, big slide on the way in there for Rob Olenek, off the brake, and the car just let go. Goodness me, it just shows you how much of a bucking bronco this car can be, and particularly here at Brands Hatch, there is absolutely no rest. You've always got something to do as they go through Paddock Hill Bend, riding the curbs, bouncing and wiggling around up towards Druids. There's always something to contend with, whether that be a corner or a change in elevation.
Absolutely, as these guys are still close together, and the battle for third place is still close at the moment with Pawlowski and Trengred as well. But so not just battles going up at the front, we've got this battle for the podium as well. So, but apart from that, the field's pretty much spread out at the moment.
It is indeed, yeah. Claridge and Olenek continue to put distance between themselves and Roman Pawlowski, who in turn has about half a second advantage over Ove Trengred in fourth. And interestingly, Ryan, Topi Kortenemi appears to be dropping off the scent of that podium battle.
Yeah, I think I wonder if Topi's not comfortable with this track, or if it's something in the setup, because last week he was up there at Lime Rock Park, but this week he seems to be just kind of not as quick or on the pace like he normally is further back in the pack. But this battle for 8th position between Gary Teal and John Olsen is still going on at the moment. But also involved in this battle, you've got Chris Henley, and it looks like Lance Dawson as well.
Yeah, there's going to be a very fierce battle in the midfield, I think, very, very soon. You can see quite a big gap, though, back from Courtenay to Snelson. So I guess for Courtenay's championship, he's maybe got to think, okay, this is just a day where we get the car home clean, we book the points, and he doesn't necessarily have to push that hard. And you can see Courtenay lapping quite a bit quicker than Snelson anyway. So Courtenay in good shape here. And if I tell you what, if 5th place is a bad round for you, Ryan, then well, that's a good position to be in.
Absolutely, and I think 5th position is still a good position to be in. I think as Courtenay gets a little bit sideways, and putting that good Finnish car control to good use.
He didn't panic though, did he? You could see he barely made any steering input, just let the car drift around, let it rotate by itself, and that's the sign of a man who knows this car inside out. It is a real, it's like a caged animal, this machine. You really got to know it inside out and know what it might do under pressure, and it can sometimes really catch you out. You can see how much it moves around under braking. Of course, the braking performance of the car is limited compared to what it's been. Now, we've got a good look there at the nose cone of Topi Courtenay, and that is definitely some more damage than we would normally see on the front nose.
Yeah, but so I don't know if he's maybe had contact with another car, or maybe just nudged someone, or maybe I know that these cars can hit the ground under braking just because of the compression and how quickly they slow down. But yeah, I have to agree, it's a bit more front nose damage than I thought it would be. But it looks like Bruce Nelson and Xavier Sanchez are in a battle for 6th position at the moment as well, and the Iberian putting Snelson under huge pressure.
That he is, yeah, really struggling, I think, a little bit at the moment is Bruce Snelson. But as we mentioned here at Brands Hatch, you can there are plenty overtaking opportunities, but there's actually, if you can play it right, if you can play it smart, you can place the car exactly where you need to try and keep the driver behind you, and that's what Snelson will have to do here, is position that car perfectly to avoid Sanchez getting the run as they drop down through Pilgrim's Drop and then up to Hawthorne Bend. Now, the first ever race they had here at Brands Hatch was all the way back in 1928, but there weren't any cars involved. It was actually a race between cyclists and runners, and the runners won.
Intriguing is this battle between Pawlowski and Ovi Trengrade as well, going on as well as they head down to turn 1.
Yep, this is an intriguing battle for the last spot on the podium. Roman Pawlowski having his race of, I would say, of 2021. Of course, we had 2021 Season 1 throughout the early part of this year, then a week break, and then straight into Season 2, which we're part of right now. And definitely the best performance of the calendar year so far for Roman Pawlowski. Of course, Roman runs in a lot of the classic, the classic racing here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Do check out in the Camel GT series where we have the Nissan GTP and also the Audi 90 Quattro GTO car. And I have to say, I talk about it a lot, but I love Roman's Audi GTO paint scheme, which he's painted in the classic Lotus colours. And if you're screaming sacrilege, check it out because it looks fantastic.
Yeah, I have to agree. I love his Audi GTO livery. It looks nice, and Ovi Trengrade's Audi livery looks pretty cool as well. It just has a bit of an artistic feel to it. If you've watched the Camel GT broadcasts before, I'll get my words right. But these two coming across the line now, and it's still really close. But I think at the moment, I think it's just a case of Trengrade being quicker, but trying to get the move done as he gets sideways into turn 1. Whoa.
Oh dear, that was a big moment there for Ovi Trengrade. Oh, and I think we've got a lock up ahead as well. A little puff of smoke. A little bit premature there, so we're not too bad. Big moment there for Ovi Trengrade. Of course, this was long before ABS was introduced. That began to be tested by Porsche in the early 70s with their 917, which actually the Porsche 917 had one of the finest ever racing drives here with Pedro Rodriguez winning in the JW Automotive 917 in the 1,000 kilometres of Brands Hatch with a 5.5 hour stint in a 917 around here. That's a scary thought.
Yeah, it is, and yeah, something about cars in the 70s. The 70s just looked cool, but scary at the same time because they were pretty much a handful to race, and if you wanted to be quick, and then you had to basically wring the neck out of them and be on the edge every lap, pretty much.
Yeah, that's right. And if you got it wrong, oh my, there were consequences. Particularly in a Porsche 917, you'd be probably more protection from a paper bag. So we're getting reports that Wallbank has had an issue here. So we're coming down into Paddock Hill Bend here, the 34 car. So that means he's the 34th seed, but that does mean you get to run the same number as Kevin Schwantz. And oh dear, oh, that's really unlucky there for Wallbank. Car spinning in front of him there, and there was nothing he could do to avoid it. Well, that's really, really unfortunate. So back to the front then, and this battle continues to rage on, sitting about the same gap of what it's been all race, apart from that brief attempt from Rob Olenek. But Olenek is making Claridge work for this, and I have to say, Ryan, it has been quite some time since we've seen Claridge under pressure like this.
Yeah, pretty much is.
Great camera.
I'm trying to think when the last time was they put under massive pressure like this, but yeah, McLaren's pretty much he's pretty much used to just checking out and running away with race wins this season and also in the past. But at the moment, Rob Olenek is really putting the pressure on, and you'll just not stop the Harrow and McLaren, and he's just trying everything to try and get by. But McLaren's at the moment doing a great defensive job.
Yep, he is indeed. He's the best form of defence is attack, I think, for McLaren right now, running a very strong pace indeed. Although Rob Olenek 0.3 of a second quicker on that last lap, and yeah, very, very close together as you can see. So Olenek really pushing hard, and they've got some lap traffic coming up here, and it might be that Claridge just about gets his apex speed compromised there, but will pull over going through Pilgrim's Drop. So back to the battle between Snelson and Sanchez. Snelson's still keeping Sanchez behind despite the pace of the number 3 seed.
Yeah, absolutely. Sanchez is putting him under huge pressure, and can't really do anything at the moment. But I think Sanchez, it's a case like Olenek with Claridge. He's a quicker driver, but just can't get the move done at the moment. And I think the only way Sanchez is going to get by if Snelson makes a mistake.
I think so, and that is often the way in these particular cars. It's all about the pressure, because the more pressure you can put your rival under. These cars are difficult to drive at the best of times. You've got a puff of smoke up ahead now. Is that just a lock-up, or is it a spin? Looks like it's been a lock-up of a car in front, and smoke just lingering in the air here in the Kent countryside. Of course, not too far from London, about an hour southeast of London. So always get big crowds at Brands Hatch, whether it be superbikes or touring cars.
Absolutely, as the battle with Papslowski and Trengade is still going on at the moment for third place, and Trengade, or Papslowski rather, it looked like he was going away from Trengade, but Trengade has managed to get his head back together and close that gap back down to Papslowski, and Trengade looking very racy.
Indeed he is, yeah. So Trengade coming on strong later on in the race. We've got 9 laps to go here at Brands Hatch, so coming into the final third of the race about now. So we saw Trengade a little bit longer to get going early on in the race, but now really coming strong, and Pawlowski is going to really have to work hard for this podium finish.
He is, and at the moment he's not been given. As Pawlowski gets a bit more sketchy under braking and feeling the pressure now from Trengade, and they've got a back marker up ahead, which could maybe be a factor in this battle.
Could well be, yes, it could well be, and that's the thing. Is always the danger with the lap traffic. Normally the respect is very, very good here in the Grand Prix Legends series, where drivers respect the blue flag very much, and according to iRacing rules, it is actually optional to pull over. You can just drive your line as normal. You don't have to pull over, but seen as very good manners to do so when there's faster cars coming up behind.
Yep, and Trengrid again trying to go to the outside to try and get a switch cutback rather, but can't get it done. And then it's close up to the back mark in front. Then the back marker moves out the way straight away, which is good heads-up driving.
Very good perception indeed. There's not much room there to get by on the Cooper Straight. It's very well named that because it's such a mini straight, and of course named after John Cooper, who built the first tuning kits for the then new Mini back in the early 1960s, and they thought they would sell about maybe a couple of hundred of these kits. They ended up selling 125,000 Mini Cooper performance kits back at that point.
Yeah, and as you come up over the hill now and into this quick right-hander, and Pawlowski again feeling the pressure from Trengrid, and I think if Trengrid gets a good run in the exit of the final corner heading down there to this Brabham Straight, or Brabham Kink as I like to call it, I think he could get the move done into turn 1.
Yep, through Clark's they go then, and it's a pretty good exit there from Pawlowski. He's just being quick exactly where he needs to be, but we've got another bogey up ahead. We've got another piece of lap traffic to worry about. Through Paddock Hill, down the dip, and then up to Druids they go. And where is the lap car? Already pulled over. Brilliant stuff again. More good heads-up driving. But still Pawlowski hanging on as they head into Graham Hill Bend.
Yep, and Pawlowski just eking out a little bit of a gap as the battle with Snelson and Sanchez is going on at the moment, and I think it's getting as Xavier Sanchez has got a run heading down to the hairpin, and can he get the move done? No, he can't, and just every time he gets a run, he just can't get the move done as Snelson makes a mistake.
Oh dear, that is, you can tell that Snelson's really under the cosh here from Sanchez, and Sanchez has got a good run out of Graham Hill Bend. They go into Surtees, but oh dear me, Snelson just gets that late apex, which you can do, but that compromises run. Sanchez is right in the draft here as well. Snelson having to go very defensive as they head up towards Hawthorne Bend. Sanchez on the racing line, Snelson having to go down low, but Sanchez going for the over-under. Looks like he's going to get this done, going into towards Dingledale, side by side down Dingledale they go. Oh, Snelson hanging on the outside up towards Sheen Curve. Can he hang on to it? They're giving each other very good room up towards Stirlings, and Snelson hangs on once more.
And look who's joined the part. Look who's joined the battle now, Peter, is Gary Teal just behind.
Okay, so as you can see, Mick Claridge is now on his own all of a sudden. So Rob Olenek has hit some sort of problem out in this lead battle. We're going to get a look at what happened. So here we go with our GSRC replay. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Something that doesn't... Oh, no, that... So it looks like Rob Olenek losing it coming down Paddock Hill Bend. There's a lot of lap traffic going on here, and oh, that is devastating. Rob just getting caught out by the pace of the back marker, which you can't blame. They're just going about their race, just trying to be as predictable as possible. Mick Claridge getting a little bit caught behind, and that's devastating for Rob Olenek. After putting together such a good charge, Ryan, it's all over.
Yeah, he was having a great race and giving Mick Claridge pretty much a run for his money, and unfortunately issues strike with that back marker in front of him. But I agree the back marker couldn't really do anything. He was just staying on his line and just trying to be predictable, but that was such a shame. But at the moment, it's this battle for third place is this battle for third place is now the battle for second place, second and third place on the podium. So it's Pawlowski and Trengrid still going at it. And they pretty much dropped to top of Cortonemi behind them, then who's dropped back there loads, and Trengrid got the run on Pawlowski. Yeah,
Trengrid really asking a lot of questions here of Roman Pawlowski, and that was a big wiggle there coming out of Surtees. Wow, that certainly grabbed my attention there. Down Pilgrim's Drop, up towards Hawthorns, and this has been an absolutely, a vintage performance from Roman Pawlowski, whatever the outcome of this duel here with Ovi Trengrid. Don't forget that Ovi Trengrid is a regular championship contender here in the Grand Prix Legends series, and Roman Pawlowski matching him blow for blow.
Absolutely. There was a back mark in front of Pawlowski, and Pawlowski just manages to get around it as Trengrade gets sideways, fighting the car, and it just shows how hard that Trengrade's pushing to try and get by Pawlowski. But again, Pawlowski just putting the car where he needs to, doing a great defensive job and not letting the pressure get to him.
No, he's certainly not letting. He's certainly acting cool as you like. 4 laps to go here at Brands Hatch, so about 6 minutes left in this race, so really coming into the closing stages now, and wow, you look at Trengrade there having to put 2 big corrective actions into the steering, and you got such a bottoming out effect there coming out of Paddock Hill Bend, and whoa, more oversteer. I tell you what, Ovi Trengrade got that car set up really loose, or it's starting to go loose on him anyways. Certainly keeping Trengrade on his toes.
Pretty much says, and at the moment is Trengrade still not able to get by, but further back in the field the battle for 5th place between Sanchez, Teal and Snelson is still going on at the moment and just will not die down.
Nope, and they are starting to, yeah, indeed, they are forming up behind Sanchez now, so Snelson's backed up a couple of spots. Sanchez got through, but Gary Teal in there as well, so that must have gone on when we went to the lead battle. But Gary Teal again continuing his rich run of form here, 6th position overall in that grey and yellow number 9 car. Yep,
absolutely, and yeah, I love that livery as well. But Sanchez is running, and at the moment, Sanchez is normally one of those people that you see further back in the top 10, or maybe about midfield at least anyway. But at the moment, having a good race in 5th, same with Gary Teal and Bruce Nelson. So, and not too far behind as well by the looks of it. I think John Olsen's not too far back either.
No, he isn't, and of course the more cars that gather up together, the more likely that they'll start fighting and therefore slow the pace up, which will allow Lars Olsen to get into the fight there. Good stuff from Chris Hengler, still holding on to his overall top 10 position. Remember, we've got quite a big grid here today, well over 30 cars, so to be in the top 10, and whoop, we've got the number 25 of Speedman going slow.
Yeah, just look at the replay now to see what happened to Speedman, and it looks like, that's weird, that was either he lost the rear on the entry, or it looked like the rear wheels just locked up.
Yeah, and of course we mentioned we were talking about this before the broadcast. My word, that's a big moment. Yeah, it looks like a brake lock-up, easy to do in these cars. No anti-lock braking system, very basic braking system by today's standards, so it's very easy to do that, to pinch that brake. Of course, that was where Dan Camish is about 1.5 miles from the end of the British Touring Car Championship. His championship hopes went up in smoke with a brake failure, which I couldn't think of any worse circumstances to lose a championship.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember watching that live on TV, and yeah, it's just so heartbreaking, and it happens in sim racing as well sometimes, that it can just go horribly wrong. So, but this battle at the moment between Trengrade and Pawlowski and Trengrade rather is still going on at the moment, and they've got a back mark in front of them to contend with, and Pawlowski gets by, and I think Ovi Trengrade manages to get by as well, and doesn't lose too much time.
No, I tell you what, these guys are managing the lap traffic incredibly well. We've got a car off on the side of the circuit, just going slow, allowing the drivers past, and he's got a cone. He's got a Brands Hatch cone to take home as a souvenir. But just 2 laps to go here at what has been a real thriller at Brands Hatch. Of course, a circuit that's been well known for Grand Prix racing, used to alternate with Silverstone. Now, Ryan, it looks like Gary Teal's hit big problems here.
Yeah, Gary Teal's had issues by the looks of it, and we're just about to look at the replay to see what happened, and Gary Teal turns into the corner with no issues, and it looks like, there's a car in the middle of the track. That's
devastating for Gary Teal. Really nothing he could do there. There would have been yellow flags, but you don't expect to see a car on its not wrong side up, on the back straight there. Not good. But we're on to the final lap then, and Mick Claridge, well, normally we would say it's been a dominant performance for Mick Claridge, but I don't think that would be accurate today. Of course, Mick pushed all the way by Rob Olenek, and unfortunately Rob's challenge thwarted by an unfortunate incident with a back marker.
Yeah, it was just unfortunate. As Roman Pawlowski and Ove Trengrade are still going at it for second and third place, and Trengrade's got the run, but Pawlowski puts his car in the right place and defends the inside line, and Trengrade trying to get the switch back. He tries, but Pawlowski puts his car in the middle of the corner to stop him getting a run.
Yeah, Pawlowski playing this one super smart. There's lots of lap traffic to worry about. They get past one driver, they've got another one to worry about before the end of the lap as they come down towards Stirling's. Just one corner left as they charge down towards Clark Curve, and there is your winner, Mick Claridge, winner again, continuing his 100% record here in the Grand Prix Legends Championship. But it looks like Roman Pawlowski is just going to hang on. Ove Trengrade running a little bit wide, and that allows Pawlowski the room. An amazing second place drive for Roman Pawlowski. Third is Ove Trengrade. We head back to Xavier Sanchez making his way through the field and looking like he's going to seal up a top 5 position.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming round the final corner now, he's going to hold on to 5th place, and he's going to take 5th place with Bruce Nelson holding on to take 6th, and John Olsen coming across the line as well to take a well-deserved top 10 result.
Indeed, and of course Chris Hengler as well coming home in 9th position, and Emmanuel Pereira rounding out our top 10. Well, we're going to take a very short break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Do not go anywhere. We will be right back with official results and driver interviews. Do not go anywhere. Welcome back to the Global Sim Racing channel, where we have seen yet another victory for Mick Claridge here in the Grand Prix Legends series, but a domination run it was not, chased all the way by Rob Olenek, and just a very unfortunate incident with a back marker at Paddock Hill Bend, enough to thwart the Americans' challenge. But Mick Claridge confirmed then as your winner by 10 seconds from the incredible Roman Pawlowski, returning to form, qualifying it up the front and showing he has that front running pace. Ove Trengrade coming on really strong at the end, but having to settle for third. Topi Kortenemi, not a good day at the office for Topi, but still 4th place points. That is going to be the key to his championship challenge. Javier Sanchez, a brilliant drive to a top 5 position with Bruce Nelson 6th, John Olsen 7th, Laus Olsen in 8th, Chris Hengler in 9th, and Emmanuel Pereira rounding out the top 10.
Finishing in 11th was Will McDonald, with 12th going to Dave Cohen after starting 19th. Peter Wojciechowski in 13th, with Craig Speedman in 14th. 15th was Adrian, with 16th going to Randy Huff. 17th was Roland Wallbank. 18th, Robert Plumley. 19th was Don Good. And rounding out the top 20 was Jesse Brannan.
Classified in 21st today was Eugenio Massa, with Michael the Turk finishing back in 22nd, and poor old Gary Teal getting caught up in that incident there with a back marker on the Cooper Straight. Gary Anderson finished 24th, followed by Steve O'Malley, Robert Reynolds, Rob Olenek back in 27th after that unfortunate crash very close to the end of the race. Matthew Maudsley was classified 28th. Chris Murakami and Richard Tucker also caught up in that early incident.
And the rest of the retirements was Andreas Bruno in 31st with 32nd Borja Velero. 33rd was Colin Bentley, and rounding out the retirements and last was Cesare Piccolo.
So we have our race winner joining us in the commentary box. Mick Claridge is with Ryan Walker.
Yeah, Mick Claridge holding on to take the win, but Mick, it wasn't the easiest of wins to get like you're normally used to in previous races. Rob, they gave you a run for your money, and I have to say, it was a fantastic battle between you guys.
It was a good battle, wasn't it? I was a lot of fun there. Really, really tough, and lap times really close as well. It seems all week lap times have been pretty close, but the only difference between me and Rob last night was I was quicker than him out the last corner onto the front straight, but that disappeared today. He was quick everywhere. I think he was a bit quicker than me, really. With if we both didn't make mistakes, and and then who was it? Good old backroad Bob, wasn't it? Got involved and got us side by side there, so that was interesting.
Yeah, talking about the back markers as well in this race today, what did you think of them? Did they make it easy for you? Was like good awareness from what we saw? They made it easy for you guys, and it was unfortunate for Rob, who got kind of caught out behind the back marker. But do you think the standards from the back markers with regards to awareness was really good?
Always really good. Yeah. You can't fault any of them really. Even Bob, he doesn't practice. This is his practice session. Really, he just joins the race and jumps in. And that's it. That's the only thing he's done all week. But he's he's as predictable as you could want, and he can tell you where to go. So just the fact that we caught him at that part of the track, that was the only thing that caused us to go side by side after that. But no, everyone was perfect. Always have been.
Looking ahead to the next track, which I believe is Donington Park, the Grand Prix layout. You looking forward to that one? Yeah,
like Donington. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, love it. I've always done pretty well there. Setup normally works pretty good there. It's normally cold weather, so my setup's like cold weather. I found that out over the years. So as long as it's not really hot, which I don't think it will be, we'll be all right. But it's pretty hard to pass there as well. That's the only thing. If it needs a long straight. I know it's got a bit of a straight, but it could do with another longer one, So to mix it up a bit. But I like it.
And quickly before we let you go, Mick, is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to?
There's one person I'm going to say hello to this week. It's Sir Michael Kennedy Diggins. What are you laughing at? It's a real person.
No, you caught me by surprise. Well, again, congratulations on the one, Mick. Another one this season to help you in the championship, and hope you can continue that good run at Donington Park next week.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Yeah, see you later. See you next week.
Joining us up next, I believe we've got a ninth place finisher, Chris Henler, who took a great result, and he is standing by with Peter McKay.
Yeah. Indeed he is. Chris, welcome to the GSRC commentary box. How was that for you out there at Brands Hatch today?
It was a good one. It's been a tricky start to the season for me so far. I DNF'd in both previous races, so it's good to finally get a decent race under my belt, and I was pretty happy with how it went today. Should have closed the window before I started. Should have opened the window, before I started. It's really hot by the end, but made it to the end thankfully without it costing me anything.
That's you can see it's training for the summer driving. Obviously,
Exactly.
You wouldn't believe it, Chris. Even here in Scotland, where Ryan and I are, it's even warm here. So goodness knows what it's like where you are.
That is hard to believe.
It is. You're correct. Who told you that? Now, of course, Brands Hatch is such a classic circuit. How have you enjoyed the week driving on this amazing venue?
Yeah, I found it a bit hard to get into a rhythm at first, but I've been really enjoying it all week. It's a circuit that I've always just found really satisfying to drive. It's got the right kind of challenge. It doesn't let you lose concentration for a moment, but as I said, really satisfying when you get it right.
Indeed, and looking forward to next week. We're off to Donington Park, a circuit where you enjoy.
Yeah, it's another one that I've been a big fan of for a long time. Not driven it in the 49 before, so that should be interesting, but I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun.
Well, of course, the opening section, we have the Craner curves at Donington Park, and they always say if you've never crashed at Craner curves before, you're about to. So you can get those out the way in practice.
I'm sure I will.
Now, before we let you go, Chris, who would you like to say hello to here on the Global Sim Racing channel?
I think my usual answer, the whole 39 community is really great. Always someone ready to give any tips you need. And you guys as well, Philippe, and on the broadcast, always watch it back every week, and you do a great job.
Well, that's very kind indeed, Chris. Thanks very much, and enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Thank you, you too.
So that is all we have time for today on the Global Sim Racing channel. We hope you enjoyed this broadcast of the Grand Prix Legends series. In a few hours' time, we are back with Camel GT, more historic racing here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Be sure to check that one out with Adam Lindgren and Joe Peak. A huge thank you must go to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts, and you can see them here listed on your screen. An additional thank you goes to June Lalonde, who provides all of our wonderful music, and check out on screen of how you can get more of her great work on bandcamp.com. A huge thank you goes to Ryan, Sean and Dougie for their help on today's broadcasts. And if you'd like to find out more about us here at the Global Sim Racing channel, you can find out that information at globalsimracingchannel.com, or check out our social media, Twitter, Facebook and Instagram as well, with all the handles at the bottom of your screen. Don't forget to head over to our YouTube page and hit the big red subscribe button so you never miss a moment here on the Global Sim Racing channel. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.